Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Art with Ray. I'm Ray, and today I am here to bring you a product review and demonstration. Today's review is on artPOP Infinity Markers. This is the 36 set. It comes in a plastic case. On the top, you see the colors. On the back, there's a swatch and the name and numbers of the colors. On the back, it says this is 36 color set. Enjoy limitless creativity with Premium Plus Infinity markers. Vibrant and highly pigmented, these dual ended markers are water resistant and include a fine and chisel tip for easy blending. Brighten your world with artPOP. They are based, it looks like, in Brooklyn, New York. I live in New York City, so that's an extra added bonus. And plus, I really like that. They are certified non toxic, manufactured in PRC. I'm not exactly sure where that is. Might be the Philippines. Not sure. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about pricing really quickly. Right now on their website, they have an amazing deal. It's 50% off almost pretty much all of their things, and their markers are no exception. So at the time of this recording, which today is March 7th of 2023, the 36 set on their website, regular price is $70, and right now it's on sale for $34.99. The 60 set is regularly $118. They are on sale for $58.99. And finally, the full set, 120, is regularly $226, and it is on sale for $112.99. I did contact the company to find out how long the sale was going to last, and they were kind of unsure. They said they have daily sales, so you might just want to check their website often. But I mean, if you can get the sets for half off, I would run to their website. Um, Spoiler alert, I absolutely love these markers. So let's take a look at them. So let's open these up. Now, when you open up the 36 set, they come in three separate like little container things. And there is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. What? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wow. Okay, it's early in the morning. There's 12 in each little container. So here you have the first container has your yellows, caramels like an orangey yellow, saffron. Then you've got your oranges, pumpkin and orange, some orangey brown, sienna, coral, dark umber, brick red, and red. In the next section, you've got your strawberry, pink, magenta, ballet slipper, which is a really pretty soft pink, raspberry, purple pink, violet, ultramarine, navy blue, periwinkle, aqua, and mint. And finally, your last section is mostly earth tones. So you've got here your blue green, your azure, hunter green, dark olive green, and apple green. And then you get into your earth tones, latte, brown, warm gray 1, black, and cool gray. I believe that's 5. Yes. So you get 36 markers, and they are a pretty good range of colors for a 36 set. I was really impressed. So let's take a look really quickly at an actual marker. Let me grab the orange. So you see they are dual sided. On this side here is your bullet tip. They do not have a brush tip. So here is your bullet tip. It's kind of a small bullet. And on the other side, you have your chisel tip. And their chisel's really, really good. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go grab the swatch chart that I made so you can actually see the colors. Okay, so here is the swatch chart for the 36 count. Ooh. Wow, so sorry, family. Today is just not a good day. Okay, so here you can see we have our yellows going into our oranges, some browns, coral, your dark umber, some more reds, some pinks. You got your purple pinks going into your violet, your blues, your light greens, and your greens, and some of the earth tones. So as you can see, the colors are really bright and vibrant. Now, as we know, like alcohol markers, you put them down, they go down dark, and when they dry, they're usually pretty matte. Um, they're not like bad or anything, they're just matte, they're not bright. These are kind of completely the opposite. of what you usually get from an alcohol marker. They do go down dark, as all alcohol markers do, but as they dry really, really bright. So you really can't go wrong with them. So today, I figured the best way to really show what markers can do is to color with them. So my last video, excuse me, was a video for a flip through of this Furry Fashionistas by Hanna Kompaniets. And today I thought I would show how these markers work by doing this page. It's a small page, it shouldn't take very long. And I'm just going to pull some markers to get that ready for us. So if you give me just 1 second, I will get that ready. If you hear some background noise, I'm really sorry. I live in New York City. It is always loud. But, you know, we deal. So we are going to use blue, green, orange, and red. That's what I'm going to go with today. So I'm going to use the regular red, the regular orange, the azure blue. Yeah, I'll use the azure blue. I like that. And for the green, I'm going to use just regular green. Okay, so there also is something else that needs to be said. So when I received the markers, all my markers came pretty well. The exception is my violet. If you can see here, the end that has the bullet nib is dried out. Also, my apple green, same thing. I did contact the company. They're very nice. Their customer service is really good. And they are going to figure out whether that can replace the whole thing or be able to replace the two colors. Either way, I'll get a replacement either way. Like I said, really nice. Customer service seems to be really, really great. Okay, so let's get started with this color along. If you remember correctly, when I did the flip through, there are some that are like kind of grayscale-y. This one has a little lighter grayscale. So let's just get started really quickly. I'm going to demonstrate the different tips. So let's do his hat here, and let's do his hat in red. So first I'm going to do say this area here with the small nib, and then here with the chisel, and probably here with chisel. So let's get started. Oh, these do not, unfortunately, clip to the back. If you are watching artPOP, maybe in the future, it would be really great to have the caps clip to the side here. Nothing drives me more crazy than having to like just leave this around. And for me, I know I will lose them. Hopefully not, but you know, again, maybe going forward, if artPOP make these caps fit on the end, that'd be great. Okay, so let's get started here, and we are just going to go in and start coloring. And like I said, this is the little nib, and the reason why I'm using it here, just because, well, number one, I need to get it on here, and number two, there's some areas here where, you know, are a little bit smaller, and, you know, I think it's just a little easier to use the little nib. Now, as you can see, it's going down dark, like you'd expect, and also there is some gray here, so it's going to be, you know, slightly darker than what you would expect. But as it dries, you will see that it dries bright, which, like I said, is not really, you don't find that very often with alcohol markers. You find them a little bit more with water-based markers, and I'm not a huge fan of water-based markers, honestly, because they streak and they ruin your paper and all of that. The only exception to that is the Tombow dual brush. I love those markers, water-based markers, but they also tend to, you know, destroy paper. So you have to be a little bit more careful. Alcohol markers do bleed. They will bleed to the back of your page. They will bleed to the next page if you do not put something in between. So keep that in mind. If you have a double-sided book, more than likely you're going to have to sacrifice the page behind it if you want to use alcohol markers. If you have a single-sided book, it's not as bad. You just throw a couple sheets of paper in between and you should be okay. All right, so we're just about done with this little section here. And there we go. There is the small nib. And as you see, it's starting to dry a bit. And it is drying really bright. You can see here where it's a darker gray, it's a little bit darker, but then in the middle where it's white, you can see that it's pretty bright. Okay, so here I'm going to use the chisel tip. And the chisel tip works really, really well. I know a lot of people, including myself, when I first got started with markers, I was really intimidated by the chisel tip. Like, I was like, I will never use a chisel tip. It doesn't work. I don't like it. But now that I've gotten used to chisel tips, honestly, I love them. You can get big areas done really quickly with little to no streaking. That's the other thing. I've done a few pages with these markers, and I have not had any trouble with streaking, even after waiting a little while, probably longer than I should have, and I let it dry a little bit, which I probably shouldn't have done. It still didn't streak. Now, as you can see, this chisel tip is really covering a large area really quickly. And you really do have a lot of really good control with the chisel tip. I think at the end of this, I might quickly just show, which I probably should have done already, just like the lines you can get from each side. But with the chisel tip, you can get really thick lines and you can get really thin lines also. And look at that, just like that, 1, 2, 3, we were able to get that entire section done really, really quickly. All right, so the last part of this section is going to be here, and I am going to use the chisel tip because it's a big area, and I don't want this to take that long. I know a lot of people don't like to watch longer videos, and I really just want to get as much of the information out to everyone as possible, as quickly as possible, so that you don't have to sit and watch a video for an hour to get a bottom line. And like I said, as you can see, I mean, this is just going down like a dream, even with the chisel tip. And I'm not like wonderfully professional with alcohol markers. I actually just got into them a few months ago. But I'm one of those people who will work on something until I feel like, not necessarily that I've mastered it, but that I feel comfortable knowing that I can go in and do anything, with a pretty good deal of success. So I've worked a lot with these markers and with chisel tips in general because I really wanted to teach myself how to use them and not be so afraid of them. And really, honestly, guys, there's really nothing to be afraid of with the chisel tip. Once you learn it and once you feel comfortable, I think you'll feel like me, like you'll think how you ever got along without the chisel tip. Like I said, especially for larger areas where, alcohol markers might tend to streak in a larger area, the chisel tip is absolutely perfect for that. As you see, there is a little bit of feathering here. Full disclosure, I'm using really cheap copy paper. I copied this on really cheap copy paper. On better paper, it doesn't have as much of the feathering. But again, this is cheap copy paper, and it's barely feathering. So that little bit of feathering here, honestly, is not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. But again, if you use higher quality paper, then you're not going to have that issue as much, if at all. I know when I use these I want to say it was a Kirby Rosanna's book, I didn't have any issues with feathering at all. And honestly, I think if you're going to have an issue with feathering, it probably will be with the chisel tip, only because it's a much broader tip. Sorry, guys, I don't know why my phone is going off. I had it on airplane mode. Okay, so you can see here that is completed, and it looks pretty good. So here you can see, again, now this is pretty dry. It did dry really bright. Even in the areas where the gray is a little bit darker, it still looks really good. So we got his hat done. Now, for his face and body, I want to use orange. And for his ear, so we're going to use orange here and here and here. And then we're going to put some pink. Let me grab a pink, actually. I'm going to grab ballet slipper. I really like ballet slipper. It's a very, very pretty soft pink. So let's do the inside of the ear first. And again, we're going to use the nib, the little nib side, just because this isn't too big of an area. And I just feel like using the nib side. So you see how pretty and soft that pink is? That ballet slipper pink is just so pretty. This 36 set gives you a few pinks, and so, they're actually really nice pinks. Um, I do a lot of florals and a lot of that type of thing. So I use a lot of pinks and blues and greens um, in that work. So okay, so let's also use this ballet slipper for his little nose, and maybe for his little paws here. Why not? As you can see, where it's white, you can really see how pretty and soft that ballet slipper is. Where it's a little darker, sometimes a little bit harder to see, or see the actual color. Because again, remember this has some light grayscale, so it's going to change the color a little bit. But where it's white here, you can really see how soft and pretty this ballet slipper is. Okay. Now, his face outside of his ears here is going to be orange. Um, and I think, what? I'm going to use the little nib here for this just because it's a smaller section. Um, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the face yet. If I'm going to use the chisel or if I'm going to use the smaller end. Grayscale is great, especially with alcohol markers, because it's really kind of like a no-brainer. It does all of the shading for you, so you don't have to think about it, and all of that is kind of fun. So, I am going to use the chisel tip, I think, on the face, only because for the sake of time. But I do have to go pretty slowly because I don't want to get orange into his eyes or into areas where I don't need orange or I don't want the orange. And with the chisel tip, I usually go in circular motions. I think this helps a lot to get the color down faster. And I also think that it helps to keep it even. And like with colored pencils, it also helps to hide your strokes. Now, as you can see, there are areas here where I let dry a little bit, and not purposely, it's just because this is a big area and I'm trying to get it done quickly. But you really can't see any streaking, which is great, you know. And as I said that, I think this is going to streak a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see how it looks when it dries. I mean, if it streaks, you can always just go in and put another layer down, and that'll get rid of all the streaking for you. Like there are ways around it, so which is great. You can always find a workaround. You can always find a way to fix something, especially with alcohol markers. So like where it went out of the line a little bit, where it feathered. I mean, if I was to do a background, I can easily hide that. And also, like if let's say it went into another section that is uncolored, then I would just go into that when I do that section, I would just you put a darker color in it, and you would not see it. So there are ways of hiding stuff and fixing things with alcohol markers. Really, with any art supply for the most part, you can there are workarounds to get stuff done quickly and to fix any issues that you might have. So it's not so bad. Again, just with the chisel tip, when you have stuff to go around, it can be a little much. Sometimes I take the chisel tip and I do like the big areas, and then I'll leave some of the smaller areas, and I'll go in with the smaller tip, with the bullet nib, and then just grab those areas. But on this, it doesn't seem like I need to do that. Okay, he looks really cute. And he's drying now. So again, you can see there's some grayscale, so there's some darker areas. I believe, I don't know if this is clothing or not. I don't think it is. I think this is part of his body. So I'm just going to go in and color this orange. I'm going to keep with the chisel tip, and I hope I'm not making a mistake by doing that. But no, it looks like it's working pretty well. Like I said, the markers are really smooth. They go down like a dream. When they dry nice and bright, not dark. And again, like it's a little bit different because this is a grayscale. But I think it's important to see how markers work with all different types of things, and especially with here where there is some white, so you can actually see what the real color looks like on white paper. You can see what it's going to look like, in a grayscale or darker grayscale area, even a medium grayscale area. So um, maybe like a medium grayscale area might kind of like mimic um, a mid-tone. All right, so that's the orange. So we've used the red and the orange and pink. I think I'm going to use green for here, blue for his coat, and then we'll take it from there. So for his thing here, I'm going to use the bullet tip just because it's smaller areas. So, it won't take as long, and I have a little bit more control over where goes where and getting into smaller areas without having to be so worried about it. And then here, I'm just going to color over the button again for the sake of time. I don't want the video to be too long. It's already 21 minutes, so okay. And then let's see. Huh. This is this. This is this. Okay. So I'm just gonna do it the way I think. Sometimes I get a little confused as to what's what and who's who sometimes when I'm doing coloring pages. Okay. And then we're gonna do right in here. And I have to turn this a little bit. And then we will go and do the rest. And then in here, I'm just going to kind of go fast because, I could even, nah, I'm not going to bother because what's going to happen if I switch to the chisel tip, it might make it too dark right now, and I don't want to do that if I don't have to. And it's not so bad because it's not too much of a bigger area here. Like I said, the colors are just so pretty. I cannot get over how nice the colors are in this set. I've only had them I got them Friday, today is Wednesday, and I've pretty much only used them since I received them. Partly because, like I said, I wanted to get used to them, partly because I wanted to really I wanted to be able to come on and give a review that was, pretty good and not just, oh, I tried them for, 12 hours. So, okay, so the green is done. We're going to use this Azure to do here, and then we'll figure out this stuff after. All right, so I'm going to use, again, the smaller nib because there is some areas here that are like smaller and, now here is where it can get a little bit dicey when there's areas that are so thin, you just want to barely touch the paper. So this way you can avoid feathering. Feathering is when you put down a color and then it bleeds outside of the line art. So if you go slower, barely touch the paper in small, like really thin areas like this, your ability to stop the spread or feathering is greatly increased. So, it might take a few minutes longer, but at the end of the day, if you want it to look good and try to avoid any of that problem, then taking that extra couple minutes is definitely worth it. And here, just usually what I do is I kind of outline here just so I know where to start and stop. And then I just go in and fill it in. This is a really pretty color. I like it a lot. In this 36 set, you are kind of limited with blues. I mean, there are some blues, but they're mostly dark. I think there's one lighter blue. Same thing with the greens, although apple green is fairly, light. And the mint, I'm really shocked by the mint. I was expecting the mint to be, mint, and it is, but it is so unbelievably light. I was really surprised when I swatched that color out. And even if I go over that color a few times to just get the value a little bit darker, it doesn't get that much darker, which, isn't a bad thing because it's a lot of marker sets. It's really hard to find lighter colors. And if you do, they're generally in the much larger sets, not in the smaller sets, because they try to force you to buy the larger set. I don't know if I mentioned this before. These markers are not available open stock yet, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to, or if they're going to be. When I spoke with artPOP's customer service, they were not sure if they were going to be offering them open stock anytime in the future or even with refills. So as of right now, they're not available that way, but hopefully sometime in the future they will be. Um, they are a pretty brand new company. And if you look on YouTube, I was not able to find one single review on these markers. Not one. So they just happened to be on sale. They caught my eye, and I was like, all right, well, you know what? $35. If I don't like them, I can always give them to my nephew or something. So I'm not out much money. So I was very pleasantly surprised when I started working with them on how nice they actually are. Just smooth. The color goes down smoothly. I really haven't had any real issues at all with streaking. I mean, alcohol markers don't streak nearly as much as water-based markers, but they will streak. I mean, especially if you let them dry too long and then go in into an area, they will streak. The good thing with the alcohol markers is if you put another layer over the top, generally that gets rid of the streaking. Or even if you go in afterwards with colored pencils to do some pencil work, you can fairly easily get rid of streaking in with alcohol markers. Okay, his shirt is almost done. I'm gonna get this right in here. Okay, so his shirt looks good. Huh, what's this here? Not sure what that is. This looks like orange. Okay, it looks like I missed. You know what? Let me go back in with the orange. It looks like I missed here. And I think this inside part is also part of his skin. So I'm just going to fill it in and assume that that's what it is. Okay. And then here also, just because I'm pretty sure this is just part of his skin. Um, okay, I'm not sure what this here is at all. I'm not sure. Unless maybe it is like part of the thing here. All right, so what I'm going to do is this is looking really good. How much? All right, so 29 minutes. This is not too bad. I could probably get this done in 35 minutes. Okay, so also here, his little tail. Now his tail is really, really, really thin. So let me show you how I go in when I do that. I go in and like literally barely touch the paper. And you can see that it didn't spread. It didn't feather even up here where it's really thin. So if you just go and barely touch it, you're going to get it filled in, and you're going to have a lot less issue with feathering. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I think, is I'm going to go in here. I'm going to assume these are handles. I'm going to do this here. I'm going to do it in a darker. I have two grays. I have warm gray one. Cool gray, warm gray one, and cool gray five. I'm going to go in with cool gray five for here, just to get this done. I think it's going to be too small. I'm also going to do this here in cool gray five. Okay. Ow! Today is just not my day. I really don't get why I'm having such a hard time today. Sorry. Oh, damn it. Sorry, people. I'm gonna have to edit all of that out. Like I said, I'm really not sure why this is giving me such a hard time today. It doesn't usually. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, so I was doing the warm gray five, the cool gray five. All right, so now I'm thinking about it. I think I'm gonna do the handles in warm gray five, and then do the rest of this in cool gray one. Just because I think it's gonna be too dark if I do it any other way. And also, you'll be able to see the different colors too. Okay. And then I think on the bottom here, like the chromy area, the areas that I think might be a little bit darker, I'll use this color to do it. I'll also give it a nice two-tone gray, add a little bit more interest. Okay. And then up here, same thing. Just like I said, let's just give it a two-tone type of thing. So when we go in with the lighter gray, it should play off nicely with each other. What we'll find out in a couple minutes. So, have you used these markers? Do you know anything about them? Let me know if you like them, if you don't like them, if you're interested in picking them up. Again, I would really suggest, especially right now while they're having their big sale, to definitely pick these up. Um, these would be great for basically anyone. They do say they're artist quality. I tend to believe that, honestly, because they are very smooth. They do not remind me in any way, shape, or form of like Hoo Hoo or one of the really budget markers. And there's nothing wrong with them at all. But these are not anywhere like that. These are much smoother, a much better quality marker, much better quality marker. So if you like Ohuhu, which a lot of people do, and you're looking to upgrade to something a little bit better, these are definitely worth checking out. Okay, so let's go to warm gray one, and I will fill in this area. I'm going to use the chisel tip because it is a big area, and I've done pretty much everything else. And the other gray is darker, so I'm not worried too much if it goes into the other gray because it's darker. Just look how nice and smooth that is. No streaks, no odd color blobs, nothing like that. It's just nice and smooth and even with like literally no effort on your part. All I'm doing is just going back and forth to get this color down quickly. And now in here, I'll just go in little circles just to kind of get that and try to avoid any feathering if I can. And there we go. See how quick and easy that was? That was just freaking amazing. All right, so we are almost done, thankfully. So in here, it looks like noodles. I really like this color, and they have some very interesting colors in here, honestly. Colors I've not seen in other sets. So let me just put away the warm gray one because I won't be using that anymore. This latte color. Now, a lot of companies have latte or whatever, but this is an interesting color. Again, I'm going to use the chisel tip because it is a larger area, and there's nothing really here that I have to worry too much about. So this is latte, and it will dry much, much lighter than what you're seeing. Much lighter. Okay. This just look how quick. I mean, quick, simple, easy, done. It's great. All right, so the last couple of sections here looks like leaves or something. All right, so with leaves, their greens are really great. I want to use the dark olive on this leaf and probably this leaf. So let's do that. Um, you know what? Think I'm going to use a smaller tip only because there are some areas. First of all, this is a darker color. So a lot of times with a darker color, when you use like a chisel tip or whatever, you have to be really careful. Even when you use a small tip, a darker color tends to be a little bit more difficult to work with sometimes. You will notice that it will feather more. And I think it's just because the color is darker. So to avoid that, I'm just going to use the smaller tip to get the color in, and that's that. As you work with markers, these or others, you'll get a feeling for how they work and how they work best for you. How I work with them may not be the best way for you to work with them. I'm also left-handed, which creates some issues in its own. I know a lot of like artists and art companies say, "Oh, it doesn't matter." It matters a lot. And anyone who tells you differently has no idea what they're talking about. And as soon as I get this color down, I'm going to show you something that um, proves my point. Look how pretty this dark olive is. I'm not a big olive person in general. I love green, but olives tend to be a little, I don't know, blech. This one is really nice, especially after it dries. I mean, it looks really dark right now and all, but when it dries beautifully. And as you can see, there is some feathering here. Again, it is a very dark color. Okay, so let me show you what I mean about being left-handed. Bullet nibs, they're all the same. You don't have to worry about it. But the chisel tips are made for right-handed people. Here I am left-handed. If I hold it like this, okay, I can get it that way. Then I have to turn it this way to get it this way. Then if I want to use this, I do it like this. They are meant for right-handed people because right-handed people don't have to turn it and make it, well, they have to turn it a little bit, but they don't have to kind of do everything backwards like a left-handed person does. It'd be so nice, and I know it's never going to happen, but it would be so freaking nice if a company actually came out with markers that were geared towards left-handed people. I think that it's a really cool idea, and you have a lot of left-handed artists out there that would be really interested in that. Okay, so I'm going to do this leaf here with the same color. Again, I'm going to use the bullet, and now here is very light. So remember I showed you barely touching the paper should make it where it doesn't feather as much. I really love this book. Um, Hanna is such a talented artist and she does such great work. I think I told you before, she is an artist based in the Ukraine. Um, and her stuff is just so great. She actually has a brand new book that just came out. It is a floral mandala book, And I should be getting my hands on that shortly. When I do, I will do a flip through of it, and I will probably do a color along from that one also. But it literally, I believe, just came out today. So I should get have my hands on that shortly. And when I do, again, I will do a flip through and color along. Everything that you see here today will be linked in my description. So a link to these markers, a link to artPOP's website where you can purchase them. You can purchase them on Amazon too, but I would never buy them on Amazon. Amazon gives awful, horrible, when they send out art supplies, they are horrible. Every time I've received art supplies from Amazon, which I will never buy again, they all come back damaged because Amazon doesn't care how they pack anything. They don't care. Well, if you don't care, then I don't buy from you. Um, but artPOP has the same prices, and I think it might actually, some areas might even be a little bit cheaper than Amazon. Um, so I will leave that in the description. I will also leave a link to their Facebook page where they give a lot of information about their stuff, keep you up to date on sales and other things that are going on. So I will leave all that in the description section, including the link to this book if you would like to purchase it. It'd be great if you purchase the book and the markers and you can do this color along with me. I mean, again, you can use any markers, any colors, color pencils, whatever it is you want to use, you can use. I just happen to I like using alcohol markers. And like I said, I picked up the set and I was really pleasantly surprised by it. So I wanted to get a review out there. And again, there are zero reviews of these markers anywhere on Instagram, on YouTube. It's very odd. But when I spoke to artPOP about it, they said they were a brand new company, which I get. But that's all the more reason to make sure you get these in the hands of reviewers so that people know about your company. At any rate, I'm happy to be probably one of the first people to review the markers. My channel is very small, very, very small, but I have really great subscribers and really great viewers. And I am so appreciative to all of you who have subscribed, who comment, who like, or just watch my videos, whether you subscribe or not. You know, the whole point for me is to do these videos so that I can save you time and money when it comes to buying different things because, as you know, there's a lot of crap out there. You know what? I don't know what this is, but it looks like it's all part of this, so I'm just gonna go and color it the dark green. And we are just about finished, so yay fun. I'm just gonna go on this side here and really quickly just fill this in. Now, if these were gonna streak, they will streak over here, down here, because that has dried for quite a while. Sorry that I'm turning the page so much, but I really just want to make sure I get the best angle so I can really show what these markers can do without having like too much problems or mess ups because I don't have it at the angle that I need to have it at. Again, being left-handed has its own issues, especially with coloring in a book that are always made for right-handed people. I find that if I go to Staples or one of those, have my binding in my books broken, and then have them bound with what do you call that, spiral, that helps a lot. Not just to keep the book flat, but for people like me who are left-handed and getting on those right-hand sides of the paper, the right-hand pages can be really difficult because the spine and all of that. And I mean, for right-handed people, the same thing on a left-handed side. So I really do think that that helps a lot. Now, that didn't streak at all, which I'm really impressed by. Okay, so let's see. The last of this now are just these little wispies, and I'm just going to go and just go in with the different colors we use just to tie everything together. So here I'm going to put this, which is ballet slipper. What is this one? Use that. Put a little orange on this one. Okay. And then this one we will do in red. Yeah, so just doing this really quickly, just to kind of tie all the colors together and kind of get them out, you know, just to tie this stuff together and make it a little bit more interesting and fun. Here I'm getting a little bit out of the lines, but actually with this area I'm not so concerned about it because it's just kind of like little backgroundy things, and if it goes out a little outside the lines it actually doesn't look so bad because it just kind of looks like it's supposed to be there like that, so I'm not overly concerned about that. What is this? I really didn't want to put a more dark olive, but it's there, so I will put it. Okay. So off of that, I'm going to put red again. I think just off of this here. Oh, what color is this? Oh, Azure. Okay, or not. Let's put this here. And I'm going to use this color here for these little round pieces, just because. And then that I'm going to make red. Here, just those two little pieces, and we are done. So I'm going to do green here, like the regular green color in here. Again, like I said, this is just kind of just to tie all the colors together and just, give it a slight bit more interest. And let's see, for this last one, let's use the ballet slipper again. Why not? Oh, I forgot the eyes. We'll go in and do the eyes in a minute. Okay. This came out so cute. All right, so finally, we are just going to do the eyes, and I think I'm going to do his eyes green. And I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to do really simple eye. Same thing here. Really just simple, straightforward eye. Just to make it simple and easy, as this page has been this whole time. Just very simple, relaxing, and easy. And right here. Okay, and we are done. So again, these are artPOP Infinity Markers, the 36 set. Um, and I love them. In the description, I will leave a link to artPOP's website where you can get these markers at the time of this recording for 50% off. Again, they come in sets of 36, 60, and 120. And they're just beautiful. I love them. So hopefully everyone's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and happy coloring.